Hi, or should I say hola, and welcome to Two Wheels Better, because this time we're in Spain. We're just outside Barcelona, and we're in the mountains around Montserrat on a beautiful twisty road, and we're out testing the new Avon Azaro Tyre. We're going to do a few more miles, or perhaps I should say kilometres, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes. Well, this is Avon's new Azaro tyre, fitted to a ZZ1100R that I've been using for this morning session. Now done 97 miles on it and some absolutely fabulous roads. I don't think Stan, the cameraman who's been sitting on the back with me and who's now behind the camera, has enjoyed all of it. It's been a bit hairy at times. But these are the new tyres, nicknamed Walnut Whip, you can see from this tread pattern here. And they're really excellent. Well round to the shoulder there and been well over as well. But certainly, having got a ZZR myself anyway, I have noticed increased stability on this. Very good tracking, absolutely no problems at all. The suspension's still fairly soft on the ZZR, but it's done the business. I've been very, very impressed. Then I had a short stint solo on it, and equally, very, very good. I think I'll actually buy a pair of these myself. That's hot out there. It's very, very hot. Very sticky. But it's great fun. Gordon Bennett, this Spanish sunshine is warm. But that's it. I've done about 30, 40, or perhaps is it 500 laps of the Catalonia circuit. And you certainly know it. There's guys here who go twice as fast, or perhaps that's been rather modest, 3 times as fast as me. Outside me, inside me, over the top of me sometimes. But it's all good fun. The bikes are all pretty faultless, really. The tyres are absolutely brilliant. And I'm not just saying that because we're here with Avon. They really are. No squirming, nothing at all. They're certainly up to my talents, let me put it that way. And they're probably better than my talents, to be perfectly honest. Well, this is the business end of the FZR. And as you can see, the rear tyre, well and truly scrubbed away here. Still plenty of tread. But look at these feathered edges here. Mind you, with the FZR, you've really got to keep it on the boil. Nothing's happening unless you're doing about 8 grand. So between 8 and 11, you're continually playing on the throttle, sliding it round the bends, and so that's why you end up with this. Because if you were back at home, you'd be wearing the centre out. And so even though that one's nicely scuffed, you'd hardly call it worn. So there's the sides, all worn away, just like me. I've got with me Brian Carpenter, who's the chief designer for Avon, the man responsible for the Azaro, and we've got a before and after here. There's the before and there's the after. Brian, this tyre, this is off this ZX9 behind us. About how many miles has this one done?
About 2,500 and then 20 laps of the circuit here at Catalonia.
It's looking very good. Are you pleased with that sort of performance?
I'm very pleased. I would have expected much higher wear on a tyre that's done that many miles.
Interestingly, I was saying earlier, I mean, typical of the corners here, the sides are scrubbed away. The centre, which is normally where you get the wear, isn't it, on a road bike, is down the centre, but it's the other way around here. Yes. And that's the secret of your design, isn't it, for this new... Tell us about the design. What makes the Azaro so special?
What's really novel about the Azaro is we've got a patented variable belt density incorporated in the tyre, which allows us to make the sidewalls of the tyre, or this shoulder area of the tyre, somewhat softer than the central area. That gives us a better compliance and a better ride for circuit use particularly.
Now, this isn't, to get it clear, this isn't nothing to do with the rubber mix. The rubber mix is the same throughout the tread. This is the actual nylon plies or Kevlar or whatever you use, is it?
This is the Kevlar. This is the Twaron, which is a Kevlar substitute, and it's the construction. It's nothing to do with the rubber mixes.
Right. And so these are radial tyres, but this centre section, I was seeing some sketches earlier. You've got these cords that travel through the centre, and you've got them, is it closer together in the centre?
Yes, that's correct. The tyre's spirally wound. It's got a continuous filament of cord running right around it, and in that tyre there's about 250 metres just running round and round and round. But the density of the winding in this area gradually increases until it's at its highest in the centre, and that's what's really unique about the tyre.
And it certainly seems to work, Brian. Now, tell us something else that's brought comments, the tread pattern. There's nothing sort of symmetrical about this. Every groove seems to be different. What's the logic in that?
It was part of the design to give the tyre a good visual impact. When we did the design of the tyre, we went out and we did some fundamental testing and we put some sweeps in the tyre. And this really came out as the pattern with the best impact. It was the most radical looking design, and we found that the variable winding allowed us to take certain liberties with the pattern that we hadn't been able to do before. And we've twisted the grooves in order to stop any stepped wear across the surfaces, and as you can see from this tyre, the pattern wear from either side of the pattern bar is very even. The secret of pattern design is to design a pattern which you put on a tyre which then doesn't do anything on dry roads, which doesn't really detract from the road performance, and also doesn't step and doesn't cause any splits in the tyre. Really, to put a pattern on there which has absolutely no effect. Yeah. For wet road performance it's somewhat different, but for dry roads you don't want an effect from it.
No, I understand that. Now, one other thing, perhaps the final thing on this, we've said that these aren't really for track, well, not deliberately for track use. It's designed as a sports touring tyre, but to see some of these guys tearing around here, and you've got these tyres on 916s, where do you draw the line on this sports touring business?
We would still say that the tyre is designed for sports touring use, and the ride that we went out on yesterday was really to demonstrate that. I'm very, very pleased with the performance of the tyres today. We've had very few tyre changes, and I expected with some of these guys and the way they were riding that we'd be changing tyres every few laps. And we've had extremely good wear out of them. They aren't intended to be a race tyre. We don't want to make them into a race tyre at this stage. There will be a later development of a race tyre performance, but this tyre is aimed at the normal road user.
Right, baking in the sun with me is Alain de Cadenet, motorcycle nut, one-time Le Mans driver, but he's been having a fabulous time too, haven't you, Alain? I think that's fair to say that.
Well, it's like paradise here, isn't it? Because they've got all these motorcycles that Avon have turned up with, and you can choose any one you like and go out. So I've had a go on all of them.
It's real boys and their toys, isn't it, really? Sort of what to have a go on next?
Well, you couldn't actually ask for anything better, could you? Because if you were to say, well, what would be one of your ultimate situations? It's to have about, 15 motorcycles, all new tyres. They fill them up with petrol for you. All you got to do is jump on and ride it. And of course, I've been learning some technique here off the others to get around the track. It's not like the road.
No, so I noticed. I mean, there's some real fast guys here, isn't there? Or let's say they think they are, but there are some seriously quick people.
Well, the Spanish guy, the little guy, he's really mega quick. I mean, he very kindly slowed down to show me a few lines because, you know, you've been racing cars for 30 years and you're used to going around a bend a certain way, but on a bike, of course, it's completely different.
Yeah.
You've got to get the power on really early, lean the bike, make it go the way you want to. Well, he showed me the way around. And then he got quicker and quicker, and I thought, cool, I'm getting quite good here. I can keep up with him. And then he actually opened it up and boing, disappeared into the distance.
And what about yesterday? We had some great times yesterday. I'd clocked up, it's like being at Le Mans now.
Yeah, isn't it?
I clocked up 193 miles altogether, and I suppose most of us did the same, but how did you find that?
Well, that was one of the great treats, I think, of the trip, because you could get up into the hills there, so you not only get a good look around the countryside, you get a good look at what all the local people are up to, but you're on nice open roads, and you can give it a blat.
Yeah.
And I think, other than the poor Austrian bloke that fell off his bike,
Yeah.
we all should have done about 193 kilometres, I think. It was great, wasn't it?
Now look, there's one little highlight, or perhaps you call it a low light if there is such a thing, when the police stopped you, didn't they? You crossed a white line, Alan.
Oh, well, I must admit.
Just
Yeah,
one.
they made a lot of noise and fuss about that, didn't they? I mean, all we did, of course, was just, well, I was following Leo, actually. It's all
Yeah.
his fault, of course. I mean, he was blatting along, and I just was following. I was just minding my own business. And we overtook a car that turned out to be an unmarked copper car.
Yeah.
Well, God, if we'd have been Spanish, I think they'd have, the Inquisition would have taken place,
Yeah.
because they got really shirty. And he says, "You come, video. Because they got a very piss poor quality video
Yeah.
of us just going over this white line.
And look, one last thing, you just mentioned in Avon, I suppose, these tyres, I can't fault them. They really do seem to be the business, don't they?
I have to say, the confidence and security I've got on this track. So I started out rather gingerly.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. What I've found is that as I've lent on the tyres and they've warmed up, they've given me more and more confidence. I mean, I can now grind out each bike on
Yeah.
its prop stand or on its footrest
Yeah.
without any trouble at all. So my feeling is that what you get is a wonderful feeling of security and confidence. So you don't have to necessarily ride harder and faster, but you could ride at your normal speeds, but now you've got a lot more in reserve.
Well, I've had a great day. I'm hot and I'm sticky. Absolutely tired out, but nevertheless, it's been a fantastic day.